and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight on the Premium Business Masterclass. My name is Khutsafalo. I know it's been a while because last week, this is a show that we bring to you with Launching Studios in partnership with Stanbic Bank, and Holland Life Insurance Company of Botswana, so that we can give you how do you get the knowledge that is going to fuel you in your path of destiny. And as you know it, you can't be successful in a destiny that you are not aware of. And this is why we bring you this show, so that as we talk, as we converse with our guests and with the things that we talk about, the topics that we share with you, you may discover yourself, you may get the strength to push and to keep going in the destiny that has been given to you. We broadcast every Monday, 7 p.m. And if you have any questions or any comments regarding to what we're going to be talking about, please don't hesitate to put on the chat box or the comment box right down below, wherever you're watching this. If you are seeing this on rebroadcast, also you are open to send us an inbox with the comments and the questions that you may want me or any of my team members to be able to address to you. We're going to take a quick break. When you come back, we're going to dive into what the show of today has for all of us. We'll be right back.
Temper Holland Insurance Botswana. Our wide range of insurance products guarantee to get you and your loved ones back on track when life hits a short left. Better futures start with Holland. Let's find new ways to make dreams possible. Whether you are dreaming about starting a new business, securing a good future for your family, buying a new home, or owning a new car, your dream becomes real the moment you believe it can be. Hoka Kgonega with Stanbic Bank Botswana. Your dreams matter. Let's find.
All right, before we get into the show, let's look at the news that are making headlines around the world, and starting right here in the Republic of Botswana. We don't have much news per se. I have my news, my own particular news that I want to share with you of what has happened. I know some of you who follow my pages everywhere, social media pages, you were aware of the post that I've made about 2 days ago. And in this post, I was called in by government, and this is not only me, my organization as well, the All Brilliant Minds organization, which I started in 2011 when I was a first-year student at the ABM University College. The idea of the organization was how do we contribute towards the empowerment of students and also helping them in excelling academically, finding out who they are, also getting connection to the opportunities that exist so that they can be built as all-rounded students who are excelling in school. They know why they are at school and what they are here to do in life, and then also propel them forward. Over the years, some of the work that we've done, it includes, reaching over 19,000 students every year with free student empowerment programs. Like we tutor their subjects for free. We call, people like yourself who want to volunteer to come and, empower students. If it's in your heart, you say, when you look at yourself, you see yourself as somebody who, you could be meaningful contribution and value to students. This is the kind of platform that when I was creating almost 10, 12 years ago, actually 10 years ago, that is what I had in mind. And over the years, we've contributed to a lot of things in government, including, the tertiary education fair, which was called this some years ago. And over the time, the researches that we've made has proved that some of the efforts that the government wanted to achieve in terms of empowering students, in terms of their professional career guidance and development, was not enough. So our research helped the government to come up with ideas that actually helps the students to make the rightful decision. I mean, the argument was very simple. How come 85% of the students and everyone who has ever worked in government since independence, most of them are actually studying, or either they're studying or they're working in things that they don't want to work in. So this is what this organization was about. We helped the government to come to realize that actually we've been doing it the wrong way. Or maybe not the wrong way, but the thing that they've been doing has come to an end. So we opened a new phase and a chapter for government to bring in the Resource Development Council, not Council, Botswana Human Resource Development Skills Fair and Career Clinics. Career Clinics is what was once in my mind, and now has been for more than 5 years, helping students all around the country. And again, with what you are seeing here, it's a new body that has been created by government to say, how do we look at the issues of labor market, and how do we look at the policies that informs everything labor, job creation, and so forth. How do we come up with policies and also facilitate programs that are going to help you as a person, not as a young person, as a person, as a citizen in the country, for you to have a fair environment to work in, to have opportunities to work, to have opportunities to create more employment and so on and so forth. I think, yeah, it's not about like the youngest, like this is how young I am, 20 years gap. But the beauty of it here is, for me to sit in this kind of a governing body, and it's not my seat, like as GJ Khutsafalo, it's a seat that has been given to Albrimo. And in Albrimo, this is a seat that was given to Occupy In. I think one of the greatest things that we're going to see going forward is even members of our organization. There's a lot of brilliant people in our NGO. I mean, our president, Mr. Moloko, is well and capable of sitting in the same, Mayor Khorata Morakesh is in parliament, all of these faces contributing to this great move that the government has come up with. So if you're asking me exactly what are you guys documents like this, and I have been doing for years, where government sits around and they're wondering, should we still keep on, should we increase their living allowance? Should we cut it altogether? Should we have parents pay part of the tuition fee for tertiary education? And we stand up in those meetings to say, hey, remember children of mothers like mine. Think of this and think of that. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And I think this is the role that we need. And for those of you who are children of God, you understand what I'm talking about. Because part of what I've been always talking about is what God wants to use us to do in this time. It's not to lay hands for the people to get recovered. I mean, that's not what we should do and be proud of. That's something like coughing, or waking up in the morning. It's the grace of the Lord. You have that. But I think the greatest thing that God wants us to do in this time is exactly what Esther did. Exactly what David did, is exactly what Daniel did, and exactly what Joseph did. Being able to influence systems and structures of government and contribute in how the countries are run. I mean, quickly, let me get into the Bible real quick. If you look at the government of the world, of then, even in the Bible, God has always been interested in them. Even when the people were instituting their own legislative government, God has always been a king of these people. God has always been interested in how countries are run, how governments are run. Most of you are crying about the high rate of corruption that we see today. We're talking about people not caring about the people that have voted them into this. Politicians deceiving left, right, and center. Policies that don't favor the people that are in those lands. You read about all of this even in the Bible. The solution to this is not us, in our churches praying for politicians and people in government. Like we'll quote 1 Thessalonians what and say, pray for all those that are in authority. Why don't we become the ones who are in authority? So this is what the show really is about. But this is most of it, and also just a quick announcement. On Saturday, the 15th of October, 2022, my team and I will be live in the country. Is it a country? Not a country. It should be called a republic. In Maung, in the Republic of Maung. It's going to be exciting. I mean, I'm looking forward to meeting all of those amazing entrepreneurs that when we put out a post that will say, hey, we want to come to Maung, literally within 24 hours, the whole place was all booked. And we look at the list, it's all bunch of entrepreneurs, business owners, small-scale entrepreneurs, large-scale entrepreneurs. All of these people are coming together to the Project 134 Maung Business Summit. I'm going to be there with my team. It's going to be all sorts of different speakers that are going to be speaking in the same day. There is a masterclass that I'm also facilitating, getting into the technicalities of what business is all about. For those that are starting, for those that scale and grow, and for those that want to troubleshoot some of the things that are currently going on in their own businesses. So we're going to have all of these sessions. We have a networking session at a place, beautiful place. It's called Kwahangi. And in the evening at 6 o'clock, we're going to have all of that. We're going to have more activations. You guys always see us on T-shirts with our people selling oranges and sweets. That's going to be happening in Mau. If you want to know more about Mozambique of this, I'm going to take a quick brief. When I come back, we're going to be talking about the perilous impacts of social media and how you can be able to maneuver social media, remain sane, remain focused, and use social media to help you in achieving your dream. Be right back.
And uplifting communities. It's just one of the ways Holland ensures better futures.
New ways to make dreams possible. Whether you are dreaming about starting a new business, securing a good future for your family, buying a new home, or owning a new car. Your dream becomes real the moment you believe it can be. Go ka kgonega with Stanbic Bank Botswana. Your dreams matter. Let's find.
Let's get into the topic today, and let's talk about the perilous impacts of social media. I know most of you, when this topic comes, social media, you think about the toxicity of it. You think about how many people are not even on Facebook as we talk, how many people have left Twitter over the years, how many people have joined the same platforms, how TikTok has become a booming platform. There's two ways to talk about it, which could be talking in the sense of its impact in terms of business and how this is going to help you in the same regard. But the truth here is, when I look at the first most important thing that I think is very important, especially right now in this time where we are in a country, I think we've had the most hurtful 3 to 5 weeks in this country. How we've seen people being trolled on social media, teared apart. How many, for example, I want to talk about this, and I don't want to hide anything about it. We've seen a lot of issues concerning marriage, and I want to talk about it because it's important that we must talk about it. Because a lot of times when we see, most of us, we see there's an impact that, or there's an impact what that does to us, but we ignore and we think we didn't see it. But there's a paradigm shift that all of the content that we are consuming on social media is building every single day in you. I think if we were to project the graphs, it will show how many people within the last 10 years have feared the whole institution of marriage because of what they've seen on social media. How a lot of people have started to believe what they believe about the relationships. How people have automatically created themselves as toxic members of the relationship association, wanting to hurt people, but they don't really want to hurt people. They're trying to preserve themselves and protect themselves from what they have as a nuance or even an idea of what they see in the social media spaces. I think the innocence of what social media was and the institutions of the relationships, just normal relationships of being okay and civil with another person, supporting another person, seeing people for who they are, and actually being on social media with the authenticity and the purity of who you are, and not building a pressure of an image that continually, perpetually, you have to keep. And most of the people finding themselves in these cracks and all of these things of depression and all of these things where people are even living, there's like a severe mental health issues that emanates because of how we use social media and how unguarded we are when we get into the same platform. I think in this day of the mental health, thing, the month of breast cancer awareness, all of this, we have to sit down and have a conversation with all of you to really be cautious of what we see in social media. You see, I am not worried about you. I'm worried about the children that you are going to give birth to, who find themselves in a world which has been created by the image that you have in your head of the world, the same image that you are going to polarize them in to believe that this is how the world is like. And I think in my book I talked about this, that anything that is or that was created, before you were born, immediately you get into it. That's how life is to you. The children that are born today who find social media existing, they can't imagine naturally, and also within their DNA, they can't imagine a world which is void of technology. They can't think of how else can it be. But because you were there when technology started, you can compare it with what the life and the experience and the reality that you know versus what you see on social media. Anything that is created before you are 20 or between the age of 20 and 30, That's innovation to you. Because you know how life was and could have been. But then you're seeing how some of the solutions that have come on board have influenced how certain things are being done and how certain things are being believed and how certain things are being used. The quality of life you have and how certain things come about in how you are like. They are the same things that makes you excited and looking and forward to more what else is going to come. Because it's innovation. It just makes you excited about how certain things actually work. You see, before there was no Facebook Live and this show would have never existed. But now we're happy because we are seeing how some of these things are making life easy for us to be able to do. For you to do this, go live and people are seeing you in real time, you had to own a television set. You had to earn a lot of money to be all of that. Like barriers to entry into this were huge. We had money, but because of technology and because of innovation, we don't have to have all of these things. You don't have to worry about the implications of not having some of these things because it's innovation. But here's the thing. Anything that is created beyond your age of 40 becomes nonsense to you. Nonsense, I don't mean in the literal nonsense, derogatory way, but nonsense in the same sense, in the purity of the word, that there is no sense at all in why certain things has to exist. No matter how much level of innovation that's going to come, no matter how much technology is going to come, at the end of the day, the same things that you see that get created above your age of 40, they don't make any sense to you. Now, think of all of this in the sense of how we build our mindsets that we use to live our lives. The things that you believe right now about life, they believe, hold deeply about relationships, about money, about yourself, about your family, about school, about all of these things that we exist to do in life. Where do you get all of these things? Why do you fear marriage, getting married? Why do you fear getting into a relationship? I mean, I've had conversations with people where I was listening, they were talking, they're like, but there is people who genuinely believes that there's no single man in today's world who is not cheating on their wife, on their girlfriend. But the question is this even true? There are people who have vowed that for the rest of their life, they will never get married because of what they have seen on social media. People get married for a few months, they divorce. People get married for a few weeks, they divorce. The people that you looked up to for years, they were like the emblem of marriage to you. They get divorced. And there's so much happening all around social media. And one of the things we are not careful about is we think it's things that are happening to them, and therefore us saying, yo, and sharing and wondering and posting on Agaswa. We think it's just all of that. But the thing is, there is a residual impact that has been created on a daily basis because of every single thing that we consume in social or through social media or from social media. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Have you realized the level of fear that your life has gained over the years because of all of these pieces of content that you keep scrolling and getting into your mind? Have you realized the gap that has been created between you and the relationship you used to have with God, for example? Some of you, even when the Bible says that forever, O Lord, your word is settled in heaven, we don't quite believe these things as much as we used to, because what is true and real in our minds is the things that we have read over the years, the things that they have highly exalted themselves above the knowledge of God in our lives. They have become strongholds in our minds. Today you watch this show, we're talking about how you are going to become a successful person, and you're going to reach your destiny, you're going to change the world, the dreams that you dream of yourself, the things that God said he's going to use you for. At the back of your mind, you think we're just talking because this is what we always say. Because deep down, you don't believe it. The things you say to people that you have a bright future, when we say them about you, you don't believe them. I think the same like I was saying about innovation before, 20 years or 20 years to 30 and 40 is true. There is an age when it concerns, wealth, success, and destiny. if you reach the age of 25 and above, and you have not tasted 1% of the things that you've always wanted to taste in your life, you are the same as people who are above the age of 40. They think anything innovation is nonsense. Because now life becomes more about survival. You get into your cocoon and calling life reality and accepting of what you see. And the things you say to yourself, even when no one is listening, the things that you deeply believe. Because here's the thing, there is what you may say when people are talking, but there is what you know deep down, you believe about yourself. I mean, as Christians, they will tell you, they can, be verbose about scriptures, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And they're saying this in a combi. And Sangoma comes into the same combi and sits next to them. They may not fully express it, but they know what they are doing in their heart. They are binding all sorts, hallelujah, by fire, by thunder. And you know why? It's because the thing they believe, they don't really believe it. If you are the strongest one, why must you be the one to shake and feel like you should move when another who is not like you sits next to you? In fact, if he was to touch you, you think what you carry is not powerful enough to infiltrate them. You rather believe that what they carry is strong enough, if you are not careful, to infiltrate you. Don't touch me. Why? Shouldn't you be happy that they are touching you? Because greater is the one that's inside of you. Now, there's this mindset that I see over the years. The things we strongly believe and talk about are two different things. We sound like we believe what we're talking about. When we say you're going to have a bright future and you say yes, you sound like you believe, but deep down you know you don't. Let's say I talk about this for a minute. When we say God is going to use you, in fact, when you say God has a big plan for you, you say this. When you take a nice picture and then you put it on social media, and you put in the caption, the bright future, this and that. The question here is, do you really believe the things that you're talking about? Now, we create this show because we want to go to the root cause of where this comes from and how come you're here and what would happen if nothing changes in your life between now and the day you die. Because faith has died in the hearts of people. Fear has increased in the hearts of people. Confusion has increased in the hearts of people. And right now, people are just living and getting whatever they can get. And in the process, we hurt each other in the marketplace, in our offices, in relationships, in marriages. I saw another doctor who tweeted this, and I thought, because today somebody coughs in an office, the way you look at them is as if they're doing something suspicious. Yeah, you're like, why are you coughing? You must go and get tested out. There are things that you used to do before all of this. But now you've become this conscious about certain things. People made mistakes in relationships before you met what you know now about social media. Your girlfriend is still going to have days where she wants to cry for nothing. Okay, we call it for nothing, but what actually means is a woman within 29 days, all of the things she's seen, it's like, I don't know if it's hormonal or what. They just come together somewhere and they gather. But they gather behind the eyes. And then they form tears. And they come by themselves and they make them feel somehow. It looks like they're crying for nothing because you didn't do anything. But they schedule themselves. That's what happens. A woman does that. But today, we are triggered by everything. If somebody cries, you already want to own and personalize it. What are you doing? What have I done? No, nothing. How can I help you when you're not telling me what you are going through? You are secretive. And then you are starting to wonder, maybe she has another relationship. She was dumped at that relationship. and you are too paranoid about things. When you are in a relationship, someone does not answer their phone for two or 3 hours. Already you have moved on with life, because you read somewhere in the story, the person who was cheating, he was not answering phone for 2 hours. So when yours is not answering the phone for 2 hours, that you know what it means to you. When he comes, where were you? There's all of that. And it's the same thing that is happening even in the offices today. Someone talked about how they were fired by their boss. And that day, the boss says they want to see you in the office. Before you even hear what the boss wants to talk about, you start talking. I knew it. Yeah, if you want to fire me, fire me. In fact, I quit. And people are looking at you, they're wondering, what are you talking about? You send your girlfriend a message, we need to talk. In fact, this one, I think girls will die. I don't think girls ever received this message. We need to talk. I give you assignment, gents, to send your girlfriends. We need to talk. It's like when she sent you, we need to talk, and say, yeah, sure, we need to talk. That's how when they throw you a baseball, you hit it back. Both of you will be in trouble the whole day. Wonder what are we going to talk about? Anyway, but what I was to say was this. The things that triggers you in today's time, the things that you used to be very pure about. When someone says we need to talk, and you don't even think she's gone. When your boss says we need in my office right now, you don't think I'm fired. When someone doesn't answer their phone because they're sleeping, or they just need a space, they can't answer your cell phone that time, because life is not about you. And they trigger, the things that they trigger in your mind, the things of insecurity, the things of your self-sabotage, all of these things, there is where they come from. And these are not spirits, by the way, are things that you have allowed to build themselves over time, and they have become the things or the engine and the mindset that fuels the life that you live. Today, when your pastor says you are blessed, you're like, because you don't believe. So this is why today we're here. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll conclude on what you need to do to make sure that you build yourself, not social media building you. We'll be right back.
For all of life's big and small moments, Temper Hollard Insurance Botswana. Our wide range of insurance products guarantee to get you and your loved ones back on track when life hits a short left. Better futures start with Hollard.
New ways to make dreams possible. Whether you are dreaming about starting a new business, securing a good future for your family, buying a new home, or owning a new car, your dream becomes real the moment you believe it can be. Khutsafalo with Stanbic Bank Botswana. Your dreams matter. Let's find
Sponsorships improve lives. That's why we create and support initiatives that make a real difference by engaging, inspiring, and uplifting communities. It's just one of the ways Hollard ensures better futures.
All right, let's continue, but also conclude on today's show. And we're talking about the impact of social media on our mindset. Not only in our feelings, but in emotions, but the mindset that we use to live the life that we live in today's time. And if you don't know, my name is Khutsafalo, and this is the Premium Business Masterclass. So before we went to break, we were talking about the residual impacts that comes and formulates and forms and shapes how you see the world. And some of these things, because like I was saying, they get formulated by the things that when we read on social media, they somehow informs how we feel about certain things, because they were stroking certain emotions in our minds. If, for example, you are someone who always suspects that maybe you will not do well in marriage, And this could come from any point. Maybe you come from a background where people are divorcing, or maybe you come from a family that no one is getting married, or maybe your friend, something happened to your friend, and this has always built some sort of natural fear in you. There is what happens now the moment you get on social media, and then you read even stories of other people, and then you think whatever that's going to happen to them will happen to you as well. I mean, we make jokes about it and talk about how when so-and-so has failed, then who am I? Because the truth is, you actually believe this is true about you. One of the things that I had to do when I got on social media for myself, because I realized that with all of these different apps that comes into the market every single day, and there's more that's going to come, the more the innovations of social media comes with Meta, for example, how they're creating a metaverse. Now imagine how addictive social media, Facebook, Instagram is right now with you just scrolling. Now imagine a visual reality of the same content, and you are seeing it with your eyes, and it's like it feels as if you are there. I think there was an announcement yesterday where Mark Zuckerberg was announcing that they put legs on people in the metaverse. My mind was like, okay, the first ones didn't have legs, what did they have? It appears like people could only see people up to here, but now you can actually walk in the streets of metaverse. Metaverse is like Earth, but digital. You see how you can walk from your house to your next choppies? That's how you can do the exact same thing within metaverse. If you've worn these glasses, which, for example, people use in virtual reality, you can walk around different parks and you can play certain games and it feels real to you. That's how Facebook is going to look like by end of this year. Do you get what I'm saying? So this is what social media is getting into. And they're building not only social interactions, actual meetings that you create with Zoom and all of this, you can have those meetings in the metaverse. Now the cool part of it is that you're not going to be logging into the meeting. You're just going to walk within the metaverse to the office that you want to get to. And then you can be able to get to malls. So part of why you have to learn about this, because one of the things that I was seeing with people is that they plot and land in this physical earth that you are in, because of whatever reason that they had, is the same reason why today they're not investing in metaverse, because people in metaverse, you are able to buy blocks of land. You can own land in the metaverse. And it looks like a game or unreal, but the surety here is people are putting a lot of money in it. You can buy like 10,000 square meters or 10,000 hectares, whichever one you want. Now, companies that are going to want to build malls in the metaverse will do exactly how it is done here. You buy a piece of land with real money. So right now, as we speak, you can go in metaverse, and if there's a land board, you can apply for land in there. You can have so much space in it. It's the same thing with the NFTs that just came in, and people are talking about how do you sell a piece of art and all of that and all of that. But here's not what I'm going to talk about. But here's what I'm talking about. With all of these developments, there is the social aspect that is coming, which is going to come at the time when even the last piece of mental health you have is not enough to survive in all of those. Just imagine what this version of social media has done to you right now. How you left Facebook. What was going on in your mind? A lot of people are asked, why did you leave Facebook? They can't explain it. Facebook. Do you know what they mean? They've come to a stage where their lives, personal lives, how they feel about themselves, the peace that they used to have because of either one, reading so much content, this one, that, and all that. Like you have time for everyone, your mind is full of everything, of everyone, except for things that are about you. And therefore, because for the sake of them being able to calm down in their own personal life and just have one moment of peace to themselves, they couldn't do it because of social media. So they left Facebook. Some of them became very selective. Let's go to Instagram. Some have left Instagram. Some have left Twitter for all of these reasons. Some of the times we think about it like, now you're not strong. But the truth is, there are people I know that are still on Facebook and they don't have to be there. Because left to them and left to the devil, they will not exist by the end of next year. Part of the reason why there's high rates of depression is because we find themselves in this, it's like a red, no, it's not really a red race. It's like a looped experience. It's like when you TikTok, for example, You wanted to watch one video so that you go, but when it was done because it was 30 seconds, you scroll into the next one. And now your mind just can't get out. TikTok, you need the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one. It's like when you are new on Netflix, or maybe you are watching your favorite series. At 12 midnight, you are like, I'm watching the last episode. And when it finishes, you are like, past 2, okay. Put another one. Before you know it, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. You have not slept. You have an exam in the morning, or you are going to work. You go to that same examination, you don't have the mental health that you need, the peace, the rest that you need to be productive and functional in where you are at. It's the same thing. In fact, somebody who was at a nightclub that same night dancing would be much more refreshed than you in the same meeting in the morning. Now, the problem is not the tools. It's not social media as we're talking. It's what we tend to do with ourselves in the same platforms. And now we have allowed all of this to penetrate how we see the world. And this is why today we are not moving even in private life. We for social media. Do you know the danger of where we are now? People will say if it doesn't exist in social media, it doesn't exist. It's like when I do a big event and then I don't take pictures and I don't put them on social media. People will think like, how can you? It's like if I could go to Dubai right now and I don't post about I'm going there or I'm here. I don't even post about anything about it. People will think there's some kind of value I didn't get out of going to Dubai simply because I didn't post on social media. Now, this is how much you have transferred the value of existence into a simple piece of content that gets a certain amount of reactions. And now here's what we've done. The amount of reactions you get per what you have done or what you've put on social media becomes the real value of this experience that you've got. Now, if you went to Dubai and then you put the pictures on social media and only 10 people like it, it's going to feel as if whatever you experienced in Dubai wasn't of any effect or any importance. Now, your self-validation of whether you've done a good job for yourself is not determined by you in your own terms of do you like what you have experienced? Did the people react to what you've posted? Now, today there are people who feel like very extremely ugly because people don't like the pictures that they put on social media. I mean, after all of those angles you took and different poses and all of that, you picked the one that you thought, this one, 2,000 likes. You put it on social media. 10 people get it, that they react to it. And you know all of those 10, 4 of them are your cousins. Did you really like the picture? Or you liked what people were going to react pleased about our lives? We are also not pleased about our lives. Now, there are people that put themselves under so much pressure because they're trying. Yesterday or 2 days back, I realized Facebook has cut down numbers of people's followers. If you have 30,000, you wake up, you had 10. I think there was a mistake or so. People panicked. And for a second, they realized that this is actually possible. Now, there was a question that was asked even on CNN the other time. What would happen if Facebook was to close doors, like it is threatening to do so, by the end of next year? What would be the value of your life? Let's abstract Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and TikTok. Let's get all of these things away from life. Who are you? You know, despite of all of these things. I keep telling people that the same person that you feel like you are, every December when you're at your home with your people, that's the real you. The clothes you wear at your home or when you are doing your laundry, that's the real you. Do you realize how you don't feel to be on social media when you are in your home village? You feel so much peace. Now, here's the thing, like I was saying, that's how life used to be like. Now, let me ask you about your parents. What's the value do you think they have, or they feel like they have out of life, not being on social media? Do you think they feel any less of a human being than you do? That life exists. And lastly, there are people whose reason of getting things or getting into things, like relationships, for example, is because of that A girl one day saying to her friends, was in a mall, and then it looks like this girl, some guy approached her, and she likes the guy. But she told the guy that she'll give him some response after some days. And she told these girls that I wanted to come and talk to you first about it to hear what you think of her, of the same guy. And they asked her the questions, who is she? Where does he work? How much does he earn? What does he drive? What does he this? And they told her, look, you don't deserve this kind of people. And you could see in the face of this young girl that for the sake of this friendship, that she is in, she sacrificed every single thing that she feels was for her because she wants to fit into this whatever that they have created. And the same is true with almost every single thing that we do with our lives. Our cash burn rate, for example, how much we spend money on a daily basis or even a monthly basis on the things that we put on our back, the things that we eat, the things that we are seen with. Most of the time is not because these are things that we want. We are in a pressure that is being projected to us by certain things. Not really those people. Our inability to stand for what we think is true to us and what we want out of life. We live life as defined by other people. Right now, right here in this month of October, on this day, on the 13th, with all the things achieved this year, how do you feel about yourself? Do you feel like an underachiever? Do you feel like you've done well? Why is that you feel the same way? Maybe all you needed this year was to stay alive, and you are. And you don't get to see this as anything valuable because everything around you is people buying cars and so on and so forth. And it's like, this is what I want. This is what I want. But God looks at your heart. This is what you read. This is what you said you want. And he brought it to you. Now, imagine how God feels. Every time he blesses you with the things that you said you want, and you look at those things because people don't see them as valuable, and you give God that impression and that feeling of he underperformed because you don't like what you got. My point here is you are a grown-up. I think it's high time you realize that you need to own your life. You need to own your life as a person. Rethink your priorities, not even priorities. Rethink your desires. Rethink the goals that you set up for yourself. Rethink the future that you think you see in yourself. I think the mistake we think is that we will reach our destinies with the people that we see around ourselves. We forget those people also has destinies, and we are not in those destinies. It's not about you. For you to reach your destiny and theirs to reach theirs as well, it may mean two different countries altogether, but you want these people around you. This is one thing I want you to learn from politicians. Politicians are loyal, not to themselves, not to the people, not to the government, but to their interests. You feed their interest, you are friends. This is why in politics there is no permanent enemy, there is no permanent friend. If we have common interests, we are comrades. This is why you would be wondering, how can you jump from this party to that party? No, it's not about the color. It's about what needs to happen in this time. But the problem is, because we feel our lives, it's like a mentality of you feeling like you are a commoner and everyone around you is royalty. You feel like everyone around you is a king and you are a slave, and whatever they want of you, you must do. So this is an inferiority complex. If you look at it in a closer look, you don't think of yourself as a king. You don't think of yourself as a queen. You don't think of yourself worthy of life. You don't think of yourself worthy of substance. And therefore, whatever everyone else around you wants you to do, you would do. Because at least when you are around them, you will feel like some kind of a princess or a prince. You will feel some kind of royalty because they're there, because you don't believe within you, you carry the same grace in your life. Now, for those of you who wonder why I don't have friends, I have friends. But my friends are friends first of my destiny, then mine. If they're not friends of my destiny, they're enemies of my destiny. It's very simple. There's no like, no, we are just neutral to you. No, sir. This life can progress with or without the people that I want in my life. I mean, one of the biggest shock of my life was that one, when God said, I can't bless you. I want to, but I can't. If these people are still with you, if you are still here, if they're still around you, if they're this, because you don't know these people. You don't know them. You have a good heart, so you think you can be with them because whatever you have is theirs. He asked me a question of, if I blessed them first, what will they do to you? That became a biggest shock of my life. And as God asked me, would you rather have an average life and these people, or go with me and be at the place where I want you to be? Because some of you, like I said, where you want to go, where you pray you want to go, where you believe God you want to go, the people you see, the things you see, the experiences of the people around you and all of this are not in the path to that place. And going there, you have to choose these people and this life and these things that you believe, or choose the place that you want to get to. You want to be the president of the Republic of Botswana? Don't tell me you want to be that and your friends are going to be members of parliament and your best friend, your vice president. It doesn't work like that. The things that are going to refine you to be the president, your friends don't have the grace or the capacity to withstand those. So for some of you who are now finding yourselves alone, people have left you, are going through things, and you are talking about all these things, and when days are what, and friends are what. It's not about those people. You need to get over yourself. It's not about these people. Leaving you is the best gift they can ever give to you. I don't want to talk about Abraham, how when Lot left and when God started speaking and blessing. That's one thing for another. But there is what you will never hear about your life, as long as certain people are around you. Some of you, your wife will never come, for as long as you believe the things that you believe from the people that are around you. See, COVID taught me this thing. COVID can get into anyone, but COVID will not get into everyone. Now you choose. Do you believe what's happening to the people around you would happen to you? Because you're like, who am I? Yes, who are you? You think those people, whatever is happening in their marriage is happening because there's anything wrong or whatever? No, it's not. But whatever that happens to them does not define what happens to yours. Things that are happening on social media to define life to you, because God has defined first your life and life in it. You don't know what these people believed. You don't. You don't know what they did. You don't. So don't say, I will never get married because, you so and so. I mean, I remember when Devon Franklin and Megan Good divorced. We were like, yo. Then who are we? Bill Gates and Melinda Gates divorced. We're like, even billionaires. Who are we? And then I can't remember the latest. But there's so many heartbreak. The thing is, I don't discount the experiences, because you can't joke about a divorce or a broken marriage. You can't. As they are, we pray for grace for those people. But they don't mean you won't make it in your marriage. That's what I'm saying. People who are broke and being fired at your workplace and all of that, look tough on them. We pray God's mercy for them, but this does not mean the same for you. Keep telling people there's a sin you will sin, and God would pardon you. If another person sinned the exact same, in the same quantity, with the exact same person you are sinning it with, then they are destroyed forever. You can't be a David and expect your hands not to be full of blood to reach your destiny. It can't happen. God knew what he was going to use you for, and he calculated the cost of it. So the grace he gave to you pays for it, and even more. So this is why I'm telling you that, look, when it concerns life, think you. Think you. So this is what today's show was primarily about, and I hope you like. I'm going to take a quick few minutes to look at the comments and questions if you have. And for those of you who want to send on the SMS line as well, it will be provided for you on the screen, and do put it out there and you'll be able to see. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, I would address your questions and comments. We'll be right back.
For all of life's big and small moments, Temper Hollard Insurance Botswana. Our wide range of insurance products guarantee to get you and your loved ones back on track when life hits a short left. Better futures start with Hollard.
To make dreams possible. Whether you are dreaming about starting a new business, securing a good future for your family, buying a new home, or owning a new car, your dream becomes real the moment you believe it can be. Khutsafalo with Stanbic Bank Botswana. Your dreams matter. Let's find.
Right, in the absence of questions, thank you for the comments though. Amazing, amazing compliments. And all of you who are watching who've been saying you love the show, you're telling us where you're watching and so on and so forth. Great. We appreciate that. We love it when we see people telling us where they're watching the show from. But anyway, so we have to come to a close. But I was talking about, I think if you followed me long enough, you will know one thing about me, that I think personally, that I exist for one thing, which is helping people not really create the path, because that path is of God and God has already done it. Because my mind tells me that people, they don't doubt that God created them, they don't doubt that God has called them, they don't doubt that they can achieve great things. There is that happens the moment you are born, that you get socialized into, you get polarized into, it builds what you think about life. And there are things that happens that you believe about yourself, and as you do so, you start discounting yourself so many different times. And one thing that gives me great pleasure is being able to sit and talk about this, because I think one of my things is being able to feel what people feel, because primarily I felt those things. And sometimes even when in their presence, I can feel those things. And I can be able to talk about issues in a way in which when you listen to it, you can know this is me. But here's the thing, one of my prayers is not for you to just know that I'm talking about you. So that beyond the listening and beyond the learning and beyond being empowered, you are being strengthened. If you meet me, you must be in a new chapter of thinking. We want to build mindset wealth. Your mind must be as rich as it can ever be. If your account never hit, let your more knowledge and the wisdom of God come into you. That's all that I think exists to do. This is where I talk too much. Not life, I mean real life. Ask anyone who knows. I think all the things that confuses people as well is I think I'm both quiet and talkative at the same time. Yeah, like I've had debates of people who will be like, you mean this guy talks? I'm like, hey, this guy can't, even when he talks, he can't stop. She's like, now. But they can't believe that sort of a thing. Yeah. It's like when I get invited to, I remember I was invited to this corporate event. So the owner of the event, the organizer, was asked, we were talking in the lobby, just like, so how are you, Mr. Khutsafalo? I'm like, oh, I'm fine, I'm doing great. Yeah, so this is how you talk. Like, yeah, this is how I talk. And I can see her disappointment because the idea she has of me and the event that she has, she wanted someone who's like, radical and, on stage. And I see her being worried about if I'll be able to move the people because of my inability to come up with the energy. Hey, you see how Makwana speaks? That guy, he's like, I will, I must, I can. And then as for us, this is us. We're on stage, we're calm, we talk. But I think around minute 4 or 5, you start realizing why we must be calm. Because you still get the same. I don't have to. There are people for it. I mean, I think one of the things I appreciate about God is the graces that He's given all of us in the abilities to do what we do. So, as for me, this is it. Like this is what you get when you invite me. I talk like this. I relax and chill and talk. That's how we do. But the thing I've realized is, as the Bible says that, I think it's in Ezekiel, when He spake, the Spirit entered me. When I talk, the Spirit will enter you. The Bible says that when Jesus was preaching, the power of God was present to heal people. I'm aware that when I talk, it doesn't matter where it is, whether it's in a church, it's a conference in Maung, in that conference building, the Spirit of the Lord will be present to do whatever He does. So this is why people will come like, when you are talking, my man, like, there was a time also, I think a few weeks back, we were at this school and we were talking. There was like a PTA meeting in Malapul. And I was talking, my normal talk, this one, the one of relax, we talk. And there's this man who stood up, mesmerized. He's like, which you know, now it's like, I like the way, And I'm like, I know what you're talking about. So I used to have, because there was a time I got invited to South Africa and there was like 5-man event. So there was 4 South Africans. All of these 4 guys, from the first guy, I was the last one to speak. For the first guy to speak, they came with this, we talk. Like I enjoyed listening to all of those guys, Mr. Maluleke, for example. People came, Prince came in. There was all kinds of people that came. Those guys, when they talk, man, you can feel them. Like the energy just charges. You feel charged. You feel like, that's how it is. Now, in my mind, I thought, look, you should have put me first so that I do what I do. And then you can finish with the higher note. Yeah. And then I went in last. And my 25 minutes of talking, and I went in. People have been talking here. Then I came. I thought I came here. And I talked about it. So I went home thinking I disappointed people, and I was wondering, why am I thus? And God began to take me on a journey to realize that I must be so, because there's a level of conversation that we can only have, and it will have a certain amount of impact on you. If you can sit calmly, because it's not about me, so I'm talking about them. Your mind for 2 hours will just be still and listening. For the first time, you are calm in your mind, and you're processing things. And God now has time to deal with you. Because every time, things are just helter-skelter, haphazard, all manner, everything's always fast. This and life is just like this to you. And this is why the reason I talk like this is because God gets the opportunity to talk to you in a way in which He does. I think this is the kind of the character of the Holy Spirit as well. You have to be gentle, calm and still voice. I'm not trying to look like, but I'm thinking this is why God's character had to come in the same manner. But the reason I say this is because I know people like looking at themselves and the way in which they are wired to do certain things. And it doesn't look like other people's way of doing things. It doesn't seem like when you would be called in a UN meeting and you were talking about issues, because in your mind you think, it must be so, like this, like that. But the truth here is, God knows why He has created you the way He has created you. God knows why your nose must be the size it is. He knows. He knows why your parents had to be those parents. I mean, it took my mom being sick, extremely sick. Read my remark, is coming out soon. It took my mom being sick for 3 days, and she was given 3 more days to die. Extremely so. A prophecy was given in Namibia to the certain gentlemen. They traveled here. They took her, and they went with her in Namibia. They prayed for her. And then there was this guy who was assigned to pray for my mom. And then he prayed for my mom. My mom got healed, and then I was born. Oh, look at it from, you mean there was no one in Botswana who could just be your father? No, there wasn't. And it's not about that. Some of you will be like, why we have all of these deficiencies and insecurities that we become vulnerable and prone to them when you're on social media. It's because we think and look at these things as deficiencies and we're looking for things to fill them. We want to look like the people, but we're not supposed to be. Do you hear what I'm saying? So this is what, and this is why we must always come back to the truth and the purity of why we were created the way we were. And if truly there is value in God's idea of who we are, whatever people think and see and say about that value shouldn't matter, because you should be settled in your heart, this is who I am, this is what I was born to do. That's exactly what I wanted to say to you today. So no matter what it is, be okay, be happy, because no one has enough validation power to validate God's calling on your life. Only Him can do it. And He has a tendency of not telling you that I'm validating you. You can live 40 years of ministry, He will tell you on the last day, well done and be faithful, my servant. 40 years, nothing He's saying. So anyway, like I was saying, just a quick announcement again. Maung this Saturday from 8 o'clock in the morning, we'll be in a place called Maung Lodge. We are always there. I think we will always be there. So if you are registered to attend the event, please do. If you're not registered, the place is fully booked, like I said. We don't have any more spaces. There was a space that we created, and then we put more chairs. Those chairs are also filled. So I can't say there's more space. If you believe God, maybe you feel like you strongly must be there. That one is between you and God. I can't say don't come, okay? Come if you feel God wants you to go there. And so we'll be there on Saturday, the whole day Saturday. We don't have anything else happening. And yeah. Anyway, the book is still available. Think Like an Entrepreneur, Act Like a Prostitute. You can buy this book for $1.99 or for $14 Asante Sana.